All right. First things first, Coach. Talk a little bit about, this is your first big WAC road trip, and it's a long one, headed to Utah. What do you guys need to do to kind of get ready and look for 2 wins on the road?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's really important to have really good 2 practices at home before we travel on Wednesday, and I think that's what is really important for us, is just make sure that we iron out all the kinks that we had over the weekend and get those 2 really good practices in. And then once we do start traveling, it's just getting our legs back underneath us. I mean, we do get a practice once we get to Utah, but at the same time, travel gets everybody. So it's actually getting off the bus and making sure that we are being present where our feet are and doing a really good job with doing that. So our girls are excited. Most of them have never been to Utah, so they're like, can't wait. I'm like, yeah, guys, we're gonna have a long travel day. We're gonna fly in, we gotta drive, and I don't expect any of y'all to sleep because it's really pretty where we're driving, so it's gonna be good. So we're really excited to be out in Utah.
If you want to talk a little bit about just that competition level that we're seeing in the WAC, I feel like there's a lot of parity. Everybody's beating everybody, and just what do you think you guys need to focus on to try and be at that highest level?
Yeah, I mean, you have to bring it every single night, and that's something we talk about with the girls. It's not just every single night, it's every single day, especially in practice. We have to practice like we play, and if we take those mental breaks in practice, we're going to end up taking those mental breaks in games. And so the WAC is just really competitive. It's always been competitive, and it's why we wanted to move into the WAC, because I think it's really good for us. If we want to be that strong competitor and we want to be in the top RPI where we want to be, then we have to constantly play the top. And so moving into the WAC was good for us because we constantly are playing in the top, 150. And I think it's just really good competition, and it's something that we have to strive for every single day in practice. It's something we have to strive for not only in practice, but in weights or even recovery. We're a Division I athlete all the time, and I think that's something that it's a mindset for sure, and I think that's something we have to definitely click in and decide that we're going to do.
If you want to talk a little bit about Ashley Edmondson, she had another phenomenal weekend. Just her play has been at such a high level, and how important is it to have that coming from a freshman?
Definitely, it's really important. I think having a freshman pushing as hard as they are, I mean, it's not just her. We have other freshmen that are pushing as well. And if our freshmen are pushing, it's going to push our upperclassmen. And it's definitely showing what ACU volleyball is going to look like in the future, but the future starts now. And I think that with having our freshmen starting and, playing at a very high level, people are seeing that and like, I need to step up too. And I think it's good because it's a different volleyball game that we're playing. I mean, it's different from the very first of the season. We're constantly getting better. We're constantly taking the growth steps that we need and we've wanted. And if we're constantly pushing from the younger kids, the older kids are going to step up as well.
So how did it feel to play SFA on Saturday? Take them to 5 sets. How did that feel?
It felt pretty good. I wanted the win really bad. I mean, who doesn't want the win really bad in that scenario? But it was fun. It was definitely something I knew was going to be challenging. I know a lot of my mentors were like, just don't overcoach, don't overcoach. You know a lot about them, but don't overcoach. And I was like, okay, I understand. So I treated them like any other opponent. I didn't use first names. We only use last names in our scouting reports. We use numbers in scouting. And so they were just like anybody else that we've ever scouted against. And so just pushing there, and then afterwards just being able to talk to the girls. And I mean, it's like seeing like your children grow up, I guess. And you see them grow up and move on and stuff like that. So I mean, it was fun. It was competitive. I mean, I knew it was going to be. I knew the girls were going to fight as much as I was going to fight for it. And it was just a really fun, intense game the entire time.
Yeah, so what lessons or what kind of things do you really want your team to take from this past weekend against UTA and SFA to take into this next weekend as they all head to Utah?
Yeah, it's definitely a mindset. Things that we've talked about, a lot of it is not skill-based anymore. We have the skills, and it's just mindset and having that mental control of like finishing and understanding like we can't take these little mental laps because those result in 3 to 4 points. And so understanding we got to focus for 5 sets. Essentially, it's like 2.5 hours. We got to focus on the same thing over and over and over again. And as the play develops and as the games develop, we have to be able to make those changes right off the bat. And I think that's something we focused on a lot. I mean, we had morning practice this morning, and we focused on a lot of, we're here for 2 hours. If we take in one mental lapse, that's the game. And understanding if we do that now, we practice that now, we're going to be able to do that in the game.
Taking a look, I wasn't sure if she was finished.
I was going to say something, but I was like, no, Owen, go ahead.
You've gotten a few games in for conference play. From the point where you started the season as to where you are now, what do you feel like you've learned most about this team?
They are very gritty, and I see the want and I see the desire to be great. We just have to piece everything together, and we have glimpses of it, and I think it's really great, and we talk about it all the time. We have so many glimpses, but then there's those small pieces that don't work out, and then they take over. And so understanding like glimpses need to turn more into not just glimpses, but moments, and those moments turn into games and sets and that kind of stuff. And it's a lot of things that we do on the side. It's not skill training. I mean, we do mental training before every single practice, and I think it's just understanding it, and it's crazy because we compare everything to our scrimmage. And we're like, if we were the same team as a scrimmage, oof, it would not be good. And so even they see the growth that they have. They're like, we just have to go over this hump. And so they see how much they've grown. We've seen how much they've grown. It's just one more step is just what's the difference between an L and a dub.
They took everything else from you.
Sorry about that. And, well, I guess one last thing for me. Going to Utah, you mentioned how beautiful it is. Is this going to be strictly a business trip, or are y'all going to do anything fun?
Well, we're staying in Cedar City the entire time. So we're going to be driving between Cedar City and St. George. And so we have Friday off, and so we'll have our practices, and then we'll probably go do something fun. I can't tell you yet because the girls don't know, so we can't just blurt out all their fun secrets. But yeah, the plan is to do something fun with them out there, because we don't get to have this kind of scenery very often.
Awesome. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Coach.
Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.